Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C. Again, all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Super excited to be here with you guys again today, bringing amazing guests doing amazing things. And before we get to our guest today, I would love to honor our sponsors, which is the Connected Leaders Academy, Root Financial Services, Author Millionaire Academy, and Breathe Capital Planning. If you need to know more about our sponsors, you can check our website out at www.buildingaleadershipmindset.com. It's our one-stop shop where we have all our events up to date. We have our podcast, other episodes. If you've missed it, you can definitely continue to get the buzz there. So I'm super excited again to introduce amazing guests. We just connected about a month and a half ago through the Connected Leaders Academy. Through the Warrior Women group where I was a co-author for Volume 1, and this amazing guest will be on Volume 2. And I'm super excited about the journey that she is going to experience. And she's none other than Amanda Ewers, the owner of Women of Armor. With over a decade of teaching multiple disciplines, Amanda has helped thousands of women to untangle their mindset traps and armor themselves with greater love with her multifaceted framework so that they can find the joy in all of life's transitions. She's an award-winning speaker and sought-after leader in her community through group workshops, retreats, and speaking engagements. Amanda is creating a positive impact on mental wellness for women, and I am all about that. So without further ado, let's bring her right on. Hey, Amanda, how are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
I am well. I just wanted to say hi and tell you thank you for just being so awesome. You know, in our short period of time that we've known each other, I feel like the chemistry has grown really, really fast and we're doing amazing things. Even before this show, we were chatting about what's next. So just super excited to have you part of Ladies of Leadership and your mission to help women not only bring the joy to life transitions, because we go through that all through life, right? But also helping them demand their presence, and that's what Ladies of Leadership is about. That's what BALM Global is about on a whole level. So I just want to thank you. And how are you today?
Wonderful. It's beautiful here today. It's been kind of rainy the last couple of days, so I'm enjoying the sunshine for sure.
Awesome. Awesome to hear. Over here, it's been a little rainy this morning, kind of little spritz, then the sun comes out, then it goes away. So it's a little humid, not happy about that. But, you know, I can't complain, right? There's no sense in complaining because you just got to have solutions. So thank you so much again for joining us here today. So tell us a little bit about who Amanda is. Where did your life start? And, how did you really find this passion for what you do today? So give us a little bit about the early stuff and kind of bring us to where you are today.
All right. Well, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version because we could be here for a while, right? So I grew up on the East Coast, actually. I live in Minnesota now, and that will be a story in itself. So my parents, my family live all up and down the East Coast, and so my childhood was a little transient. I kind of moved all over the place. My parents divorced when I was pretty young, and I have two younger sisters. We just kind of ended up here and there, and I met my husband when I was going to my junior year in college. I was living in North Carolina, the border of Virginia, North Carolina, and my husband was stationed out there in the Marine Corps. So we met, and he's from the Midwest. And so after I graduated from college, we moved up here. We have two kids. I'm sending my daughter to middle school. So I know. And, having kids was something that we both wanted. We wanted to, experience that together. But when we had my second child, we had moved to Tennessee. He joined the work that he does required him to kind of move a little bit to be able to um, be in the position that he wanted. And there was a point where we were kind of without a support network. And when we had my son, I suffered from postpartum depression, um, pretty rough experience for me. And so through that experience, I developed this program to help women to untangle all of the things that we go through, because that was a really difficult time in my life. And I had to go back and say, I've gone through all these different things in my life and I've always overcome them. I can overcome this too. But I had to tap in. And for me, that was really learning the 5 keys to take care of myself. And through that, I said, if I can do it, then I'm responsible to help another woman to overcome it too.
Powerful, so powerful that it's sometimes we go through these things in life and we don't know why we're going through them.
Mhm.
All we know is that it's happening to us. Sometimes we question the universe, the higher beings, like, why me? But when we kind of can sit back and take ownership that, this is happening to me, and why is this happening to me in a way where I can help the next person?
Mhm.
And I love that's what happened to you in your, in your trauma, in your postpartum depression, whatever that looked like. You said there's a reason why I'm going through this. And, even before we started the recording, we kind of talked a little bit about you actually sharing that message to a group of people, both men and women. And can you just share a little bit about what was the response you got at the end and the feedback, and what that actually, uh, how that spoke to you as well?
It was rather profound and something I didn't expect. So I came in, I had this beautiful presentation, very feminine, and I was talking about my kids and motherhood. And I'm like, the men here are not going to want to hear what I'm talking about. And if you know anything, it was for the Rotary Club. And if you know anything about the Rotary Club, women have only been a part of that organization in the last 30 years. It's always been male dominated. And so there is this mission right now to really bring in young women into the organization because they've seen our value. But within that presentation, I noticed that everyone was really actively listening. The information that I shared with them wasn't just about my experience and my story. It was, here are the facts and here's how you can help. And they perked up because they realized that there were people in their lives that maybe they judged and didn't know that they were going through this because they didn't know. They just didn't know. And so after the presentation, I had more men approach me and have conversation with me than the women. And I just found it to be so powerful that I didn't know that my message would be received by them as well as it was. And that made me realize that this message is for everyone. It's not just for women. And I almost didn't share. I almost let the fear of me possibly not being able to talk about it, but I reminded myself I went through it for a reason. I went through it for a reason, and I've made the impact that I have already. Imagine a story so vulnerable, how much impact that could make.
Wow. Yeah. That's the whole point of our story, of our mess that turns into our message about our struggles, that helps that next person out going through it as we speak. And when we voluntarily open our mouths to speak our truth or our story or our experience, that touches the lives of others, whether that was your intent or not, whether in a negative or a positive form. But our only job is to state it out loud. Again, once we're good and ready to, but the message definitely has to be heard. So kudos to you for having the nerve and the courage to really share that, even with the thought of they may not receive. That's not for us to judge or make that call, right?
Mhm.
And when we just do because it's just our nature to do, so much beautiful things happen, things that we don't even expect. So I'm glad that, now we're aware. And, for anyone listening, when you are in doubt, just do it. You just never know what the results are going to be. And you may be surprised, just like Amanda was surprised on the feedback that she receives, and how I've been surprised at, some of the things that I put out there and who's responding and who's not, which is all great because we're still on a common mission. And thank you so much for that, Amanda. Great, great, great topic. And I want to talk about the Women of Armor, and where that came from to be the business name. Where did that stem from? What was the inspiration, and how have you used that and mingled it with your message?
So I had a really awesome experience right after, it was around the time of having my son. And now that I'm saying this out loud, I'm having an epiphany. I met Priscilla Shire. And if anyone knows Priscilla, she is phenomenal. She's written several books. And she had written in one of my books, Go. And I never really knew what that meant. Go where? But the book that she wrote it in was Jonah. And if you know anything about Priscilla, she had a son, not in a most convenient time of her life. And they were like, why is this happening? God, why? And but this child, obviously, they loved, and it became a highlight of their life. And again, now that I'm kind of going through it, I'm realizing that there was a lot of connection to what I was going through, because I really only wanted one child. And so when we had two, and then it was double whammy with the postpartum, it was a lot to go through. And so later on, I find this book and I open it up and it's Go. And then I find one of my prayer cards from also that time. And it talked about being a mother and what my goals, and being a woman, standing in my power. And I didn't realize I had lost some of my identity when I was going through that depression. But I had been journaling. I had been making notes along the way that I would discover later. And when we moved to Minnesota, I had done a Bible study, and it was Armor of God. Priscilla had done that one. And I started going through and thinking, how could I apply all of these pieces in this armor of God into a mindset development? How can I use the tools and the messages that were being sent to me during that time? Because there's got to be a reason they were being shared with me. They were connected to that deeply emotional experience. How do I develop that? And so I brought it in and I started just going through, and that's where Women of Armor came from, the armor of God. But I decided that, well, I don't really want to go through like a night suit. I want it to be me. I want to personalize that. So what do I enjoy doing? What is something that requires me to be fully present and focused? Archery. I don't really look like someone that probably goes out and shoots bow and arrow, but I do, and I enjoy it. And it there's something that you have to center. It's all about mindfulness. And 95% of the practice is mindset. So
Absolutely.
I started building in the pieces of the bow and arrow and the practice of it. And how do I take all of those pieces and create this armor, this mindset armor to empower women to go out and step into the things that they already have within them, the things that they enjoy doing. How do we find that again? Because when we're going through life transitions, we don't always know where the messages are being dropped, how to receive them. But if we allow ourselves to be open and receptive, then they're right in front of us. They're right inside of us. And we can find the joy and the purpose in the struggle, in the transitions, in all of these things that we are going to go through. But we only get one life. And so we want to maximize the joy that we get to have in it.
Absolutely. Only one life, but we live life every single day, right? Every day is a new opportunity to make sense of what it is that we are supposed to be doing. And some of us find it, some of us enjoy it, some of us kind of get it and are not too sure what to do with it. And some of us just kind of disregard it. So there's so many levels to when we have a passion or an idea for something, and that's where the limiting beliefs come in, that's where the naysayers come in and say, oh, that's not you, because they know you from like your past. And it could be so many different things, but if you have this armor already set, no one can move you, right? And I love the fact, and how divine is this, that um the Women of Armor is the name of your business, and then you connect with the beautiful Desiree Cruz and see what she's doing about warrior women, and now you're about to be a co-author in a volume 2. How, tell me, how did that introduction happen? What caught your attention? And I can almost know that all you had to say was armor, I'm done, there's women, and we are empowering each other. So that was like a done deal for me as soon as I heard that too. Was that the same for you? And how has it been, your experience so far?
I have been so fortunate that I have got to spend quality time with Desiree and her family, and getting to know her and her mission, and seeing how she brought that group of women together for the first edition, which is how I met you and a lot of other phenomenal women. I messaged her and I said, I want in. I'm just completely blown away. And then when I got to spend more time with her, I'm like, I want to be a part of it. I feel like I'm part of it. Like I'm just destined to be in this. I don't know why, but when you feel that calling, we can reject it or we can step into it and own it. And honestly, I'm not really sure where the story is going to go right now, but I'm excited for where I'm positioned right now and the people that I'm surrounded by to be able to share this message. And it's all divine. When it downloads, that's what I'll go with. And like this whole the message of postpartum, this has been something that I've avoided. And I've had many coaches that I've worked with that have tried to push me in that direction. But I didn't want to come from a place of trauma. I wanted to come from a place of healing. And I think I've spent the time to really heal from it and be able to put the words out there without letting the emotions control it. So I'm excited to share from a place of healing and not from trauma.
I love that. I love that. We are going to take a quick break and just hear from some of our sponsors. This has been just absolutely phenomenal. Can't wait to touch on some more topics with you, Amanda. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
We are back. We are back. Thank you so much. Amanda, oh my God, we have been just talking about some amazing things that are happening. When did you feel like do you feel like you've arrived, or do you feel like there's still so much more work to do? And do you have a coach guiding you to that? And how important is coaching for you, not only to be a coach, but to have coaches?
It's equally important. We No matter where you are, whether you've arrived or you are just starting out, you need to have someone that you can bounce ideas off of. You need to have someone that can challenge you. I always say you should have somebody that's 2 steps ahead. And when we say we've arrived, what does that mean? Because I think that as long as we are on this earth, we have the ability to create impact every single day. And so to arrive for me is to say that I have a platform and I have people to share it with. And so in that sense, absolutely. I think that I've gotten to a point where I'm confident in my messaging and I'm confident in who I am, and that what I'm bringing to the table is important, and that I have that responsibility. So in that sense, yes. But is there still work to do? Absolutely. There will always be work to do. And I'm willing to do that because I have people around me that are challenging me, that are requiring that I don't stop here. And I think that's what coaches provide for us, is just that nudge. When you don't want to, they remind you why you started. When we can't remind ourselves, that they're there for us to say, well, have you tried this, when you feel like giving up? So coaches are incredibly important. And if we are coaching, then we should be open to the idea of having other people coach us, because we believe in the power of it.
So true. So true. And you hit something right on the head of that nail. And that is that I intentionally asked the question about have you arrived, because obviously we know we haven't arrived, because there's always more impact.
Mhm.
So great answer. However, I love that you did say that you have your platform, you have your stuff, and in that sense, you have arrived. We need to acknowledge that we do arrive in different seasons of our lives, but
Mhm.
it never ends there. It's
Mhm.
always a continuum of just growing and building and connecting, because there's more people that we still have to serve that don't know that we're on our way, or we don't know that they're on our way to us, right?
Right.
So we have to be prepared. So I love both of your takes on that answer, but I just wanted to highlight that we can arrive at
Mhm.
some level, right?
Mhm.
Whatever that is. And I was actually closing out the Building a Leadership Mindset Through the Empowered Journey. My book was the one featured for the month, and we've been kind of going through my mindset of writing the chapters. And my last chapter was called Satisfaction.
Mhm.
And it was only a 1-page chapter, done very intentionally, because you never are going to be 100% satisfied. Once you hit those goals and those targets, again, there's still more work to do.
Right.
So just continue enjoying the process and be satisfied, celebrate it, and then set your new goals, right? And just keep going. So thank you so much for highlighting that. So you say that you have groups, workshops, retreats, and engagements, and that's something that you are involved in and want to continue to be involved in. How important is it for you to be either in attendance of some of these kind of spaces, as an attendant, as a speaker, and possibly as a host?
Well, as an attendee, whether you are leading these types of things yourself or just going for the experience, there's value that you can take. If you've ever been to a workshop in any sense, it could be church even, you're going to take away a nugget. There's golden nuggets everywhere. Why would we not want gold? I mean, why? It's so valuable. So if as an attendant, when you're going to these things, you can take something away that you can apply. You can learn from other people who are doing it differently. So there's always something to learn, and they're enjoyable. If you're wanting to experience something different, those types of events are it, especially if you're in business. That's how you network with other people. That's how you build your platforms, is by making those connections, getting more exposure, getting yourself to experience maybe different cultures, different languages, different ways that people are promoting or interacting in the business. So you have to put yourself in those places. You have to plug in. It's part of the growth, is staying connected and staying open. If we close ourselves off, then we're not growing. We're just going to stay where we're at. But if you allow yourself to go experience other things, you can bring it back and you can apply it somehow, some way. Whether it's positive or negative, you can take something back from that for sure.
Awesome. As a serial attendee for the past year and a half, going to different events, especially when I was in my multi-level marketing company with travel, we had 4 national events a year, and every year, same theme. Obviously, different speakers, different products that we're putting out there, but the message was the same each and every time. And what I found was that each and every time I was in a new space, even with these people that I've known or I don't know, I have grown immensely each and every time. What are some tips and opportunities that that people could take advantage of when they're going to these events, right? Because some people just go, they get the information, write it down, and then they leave it in their notebook. Once they get back home, they don't apply it, right? And of course, that just defeats the whole purpose. But what are some things that you have noticed that people kind of shy away from in these spaces? But if they did something else, what tips would you give them to do when they're in these spaces?
All right, this is a complicated one, because what you said about growth is huge. Every time you went, it was a different message, or it was the same message, but you were different every time you went.
Absolutely.
Because as we grow, the message is received differently. Our brain is just rewired in a sense to pick up different things that maybe we weren't open to before. So as you grow, you receive it differently. If you have just started on your journey and this is your first event, the biggest thing that you can do is not write everything down. We do that. We write everything down. We put it in our notebook and we go home and we put it away. Absolutely true. Totally guilty. You have to take away one thing. And that one thing that it makes you feel uncomfortable when you think about it. It's like, oh, I would love to do that. I could never do that. That thing that makes you feel something, take that. And then go home and do something right away. Or before you even leave the event, take action immediately. That thing, take some sort of action, whether it's going back to your hotel room or and looking in the mirror and giving yourself an affirmation. And because you've emotionally connected to something, it made you feel something. That's like that intuition. That's something telling you, hey, guess what? Tapping on the shoulder. This is the message you're supposed to receive.
Yep.
We try to take it all and then we get overwhelmed. And if you do that every time, it'll just become practice.
Absolutely.
And connect with 3 people. Just 3 people, whether it's you connect on social, business card, something, and I want you to message them. So great to have met you. Start the conversation, because if you wait a week later, they probably won't remember that they had a short encounter with you, because some people go from one event to the next. Okay. And that happens. But if there's somebody that you truly felt impacted by, make that contact. So contact 3 people and take away one thing and take action immediately, no matter where you are in the journey.
Yeah, great tips, great tips. And this is also for seasoned people that's been in this industry for some time, because you can, again, go to an event so many times and still get a new aha moment each and every time, because that's just what happened to me. And even hearing people's stories that I have heard in the past, they're never said verbatim the same exact way. There's always a new kind of detail that probably you missed in that first speech, and then you hear it again and you're like, oh my God, that was like the missing link that I've been looking for.
Yep.
And that's really what you go for. There is no virtual Zoom community. There is not one event that you will show up to and not get something new from it. I've just never seen it happen. They've just always been great. You know, there's always a message and it's always in alignment. And what has been crazy for me is that even in the companies that I've been with and the company that I'm building and the communities that I'm with, and also my church, when you go, like, you have a weekend of this event and it's just amazing and the topics are just awesome, and then you go to church that Sunday and they're talking about the same thing and you're just like convicted. I'm like, oh my God, this is just divine alignment of I'm at the right place at the right time, and really just taking action. That just keeps me going. And if you're not experiencing that, that's because we're missing that missing link, right? So we have to keep going for it. No matter how long it takes. I don't care if, my journey really took 20 years. It has evolved, rapidly within the last year, but people don't see that growth part, right? They just see what they're seeing like right now today. But it takes a long time to really believe that you can. And if you want to shorten that time, coaching, events, skip all that madness. There are communities out there that are going to help you get there quicker. And if I would have known this 20 years ago, I would have started 20 years ago. So, oh my goodness, Amanda, you have been absolutely amazing, dropping gold, diamonds, all of that here on this show. But how can people get a hold of you? What's next? I know Warrior Women, it's a soon starting project for you, but you have some other things coming up. Share. And how can we get a hold of you?
All right. So the best way to get in touch with me is AmandaEwers.com or Amanda.Ewers@gmail.com. So pretty easy to get in touch with me. And gosh, I have, yes, lots of projects. So Warrior Women 2, that will be coming up this fall. And I have my book coming out, and it's called Archerella, a journey to mindset mastery for women. I'm so extremely excited about that. I'll be sharing stories and action items that you can implement right away. And it'll be kind of like a self-study. So I'm super, super excited about that. And that will also be coming out this fall. Everything will be on my website, amandaewers.com. And I also offer coaching. If you are a woman going through a life transition, whether that is you just had a baby or got married or moved or a new job, anything like that where it's changing kind of your routine and you just want to find that joy and purpose, and then I am your gal. And I'm offering a complimentary call to anyone who wants to just hop on and see what I've got for you, and if I can help guide you through the transition.
That is super awesome. Thank you so much for offering that as well. And one of my chapters in my book was actually called Transition. It's a very important time in our lives where we have to understand what's really happening. And, going from the move, my biggest first ever courage move of life, which was a huge transition, was moving from Chicago to Philly, without knowing really anyone but my parents and some family members. So I love that part, that's your niche. That's what you work on, because we're transitioning every season. Sometimes we can transition as good from one day to another. So you should always be prepared and have the tools to be able to go through that transition smoothly when you're just uncertain about what that unknown looks like. So thank you so much for that. Definitely connect with Amanda. Super excited to have her on this journey with me through Ladies of Leadership, and then now being, a part of the community for your women, and so on and so on. And it's just going to get bigger for us and in our groups and what we're doing for women for the long haul, right? It's no stopping us. It's truly a movement, something that we will not rest until the trajectory and the visuals are changed, where women are stepping into their space and their purpose, so that they can continue to grow just in every area of their life. Amanda, you are awesome. You rock. Thank you so much for joining us and being part of this talk this morning. And I am going to leave you with the final words. Anything you want to say and leave to our audience?
Our battlefield is our mind. And so every day when we step out there, that is our biggest hurdle. And so if you can just find the tools to help you win on that battlefield, you're going to win in life.
Awesome. Perfectly said. That's a mic drop. Thank you so much, Amanda. You are amazing. Thank you so much to our listeners. You are absolutely fabulous. You're going to probably have to watch this on repeat or listen to it on repeat, because I will, because there were just some amazing things to have, to take note of and really kind of apply it to our lives. So thank you so much for listening again. As I always say, have a great day and make it count.